The Atlanta Braves are concerned about defense. We talked about this topic on the weekend based on Alex Anthopoulos' recent QA session with Alistairs. But there was one name I deliberately didn't discuss at that point, and circumstances forced us to revisit that now. First off, here's what Tony had to say. In context, emphasis added the Blue Jays, looking for some infield depth, traded for Aledmys Diaz. The Orioles need to identify a shortstop and might wait for market prices to fall within the range, a strategy that has worked for them repeatedly. The Braves have checked around about shortstops, perhaps to buy more development time for Dansby Swanson, who is coming off a rough 2017 season. For this fall's class of free agent shortstops, Zach Cozart, Alcides Escobar and J.J. Hardy, there is a remarkably small group of teams that could emerge to bid. I'm really not going to blame Oni much for what amounts to a half-truth, and that's because there's some connecting that one could construe. I pulled up the defensive stats on Fangraphs for all 2017 MLB shortstops with 700 innings at the position, roughly half a season, and ranked them on defensive runs saved. At the number one position, is Andrelton Simmons 32, nobody else is close, only 3 others were even in double digits. There are 26 names on the page. Would you prefer the UZR 150 numbers? Okay. Fangraphs total defensive score? Okay. Swanson 14th, right at mid-pack, Turner 16th, Andrus 19, Correa 21, but if we stick with DRS for sake of comparison, Swanson's 7 was third worst on the club to Tyler Flowers' 9 in half a season of innings and Matt Kemp's 17 in about 100 more innings than Flowers. So after the thought that the Braves could be solid up the middle last season, that didn't go so well in the whole. He wasn't terrible, but there's definitely room for improvement. But is there a change coming? No, or at least, not yet. Writing Sunday for the AJC.com, subscription required unless you hit CTRL-A and CTRL-C really quickly. Dave O'Brien addressed this subject, but his words, meant to clarify Oni's report, may actually have been speaking on both sides of the argument rather than aiming to give Swanson more development time. They're looking for a proven shortstop who can back up several positions around the infield, a need because Johan Camargo could end up playing an everyday role at third base instead of serving as a utility man. Okay, that part makes sense. However, equivocation ruled the day, as he also later said this according to a person close to the situation. Anthopoulos won't guarantee a spot for any young player just because of current or former prospect status, but the Braves have some players that Anthopoulos and the team are counting on to be everyday players, including Albies and Swanson. And this, the Braves and their revamped front office remain optimistic about Swanson's long-term future, and he's penciled in as the regular shortstop for 2018, though Anthopoulos will reserve the right to make changes at any position if he thinks a change is needed. Well, thanks for clearing that up, Dave. In other words, the position is Swanson's, unless it's not. Now you might think, that should be the case for every player. If you suck, you should be replaced. I can't argue that point, and I won't try. If you can't play, you're at risk of being replaced. It happens all the time. With Swanson, though, it's about the adjustments, and he needs them on both sides of the ball. At the plate, he needs to recognize sliders better. In the field, he needs to make the routine plays better before thinking about anything more. If he can do this, then all's well. Meaning, it does sound like the team is after somebody to replace Jace Peterson in a super utility role, though, and that means somebody in the mold Paul Janish, Ramiro Pena, Jack Wilson that checks these boxes. Veteran known as a decent defender, more gloveless back, can handle any infield position cheap. Instead, it's third base where some hand-wringing might be going on, but O'Brien thinks that Johan Camargo gets first crack at winning the job this spring, with the thought that Austin Riley could soon in another year be knocking on that door. So for those speculating about somebody like Zach Cozart, there's virtually no scenario that gets him to Atlanta as a Brave unless his price drops dramatically. That would be surprising for somebody who pulled off a 5-war contract year with career highs in homers, walks, average, slugging, OBP, and ops without significant home-away splits. At least that's the way it looks for now.